preservatives, additives, gums, stabilizers, E-numbers, all these things are not your friend. Sauerkraut, because I eat that every morning. It's the first thing that goes into my stomach. Some basil from my fresh basil plant. Mini ones, this is the big boy. And filled. Good morning. I feel like I always film here when I just want a moment to relax. I actually already went to Pilates class this morning at 8, which was great. I always feel like so refreshed, even like reborn after my Pilates class. I had to get up pretty early, at 6:45, or I think that's early, I don't know. There's crazy people out there who get up at like 3 a.m. That's not me. It's Inferno Pilates, so it's hot Pilates, if you've probably heard of that before. And trust me, it gets very hot and very sweaty. Pretty much just like living in Singapore, really. At the end, they start opening all the windows and you feel the breeze come in and you're like, oh, it's so like cooling, so cold. And it's like 36 degrees outside. So that tells you that it's really, really hot inside the Pilates studio. But yeah, it's honestly a really good feeling. Just having this conversation is making me thirsty. So today I'm thinking I need to go first to this German shop, which is about a 15-minute walk from here, because that's where I can get my specific gluten-free things. If you live in Asia, or if you ever lived in Asia, you'll know that finding gluten-free items is much, much harder than it is to find in the Western world. For example, in the UK, oh my gosh, there's so much choice for gluten-free, for vegan, nut-free, soy-free, everything free. You can basically get it all. In Spain, it's actually pretty good too, especially for dairy-free. They have a lot of dairy-free things in Spain. Australia is the other one, which they have all that stuff readily available. But in Asia, it's not always like that. And typically when you do get the gluten-free items, because I'm celiac, it's not a lifestyle choice, it's like a necessity. It's usually imported. It's always imported, to be honest. That means that the prices go nice and high. So I end up paying, well, I'll show you how much I end up paying. But today, get some more gluten-free bread. I need to get some sauerkraut because I eat that every morning. It's the first thing that goes into my stomach whenever I eat. So usually I will do fasting in the morning and then I'll have my first meal and I'll make sure that sauerkraut is the first thing that goes into my stomach. Just because it's fermented, so it's got like natural probiotics in there, which is good for a healthy gut. And it seems to work best for me when that goes in first before anything else. It's also, it's high in fiber. I try to get my fiber in first. Basically what happens is when you ingest fiber before the other food, it creates almost like a gel, think of it as like a gel lining in your stomach, and that gel lining makes it harder. If you eat something sugary or processed, something like that, it acts as like a barrier, so that you don't absorb all of that glucose into your bloodstream so quickly, and it doesn't give you such a glucose spike. That's also why it's really important to get your fiber first. So with the sauerkraut, 2 birds, 1 stone, spoonful it in. It's not the most pleasant experience, I'm not gonna lie, but it does the job and keeps you healthy, and that's what we're going for. So those are the 3 main things, and I have to try not to get distracted by the yummy gluten-free Sha treats that they have in there as well. Oh god, they have that biscuits and that little thing which is like a Kinder Bueno. Oh. But I'm gonna try not to have that. This is pretty much what I have every morning. I've got a piece of gluten-free toast, which is basically made up of different gluten-free grains, nuts and seeds, and on that I have some avocado, some basil from my fresh basil plant, which is just down there. So I picked the basil in the morning, put the basil on there. I've got organic cucumber on top, and then just some salt and chili flakes to season that. Here I have the same toast, and I roasted garlic the night before, and then I just spread the garlic on top of the toast because it's much healthier than having butter on your toast. And then a boiled egg, and this just for some extra protein because I had a workout today. is some tofu that I marinated and baked yesterday. And I pretty much have this every day, probably about the tofu. That to me is perfect. I like it just a little bit runny and then cooked on the outside. So the plan is to make arepas, which, if you don't know, is like a Venezuelan version of a little pocket. Probably like the most similar thing I can compare it to. But it is meat because it's made of cornmeal. So if all goes to plan, I will try my hand at making those because we used to be able to have them in Shanghai, but there's no arepas in Singapore. So if I want to open, I gotta make it. I've got my mini ones over here, which are quite small, and then over here is the big boys. So to make the arepas, I'm using this pan, which is basically flour that I got when I was in Madrid. It's especially for arepas and it's made of pre-cooked cornmeal. And then to fry it, you don't want to do it in olive oil like I accidentally did because the olive oil burns. So I'm using this organic virgin coconut oil, which I got when we were just in Thailand. So it's literally just flour, warm water, and then salt, and then fry it in oil. It's very, very easy. Oh, and then I use my husky cup to help shape it. The mini ones anyway. So here we have different fillings. We've got the arepas, just ignore that slightly burned bit. And here's one filled. It tastes really good, trust me. So we are just on our way to brunch now. It's this really nice place called Wild Honey, and it's on Orchard Road, so good location. And I love it because there's loads of gluten-free options and vegan options. Same old story. But yeah, not only like there's lots of healthy options, but the food is actually also really, really good. So we're going to this place for a brunch with some people we met the other day, a Spanish couple. I met them actually playing paddle, so that's nice. And yeah, so we thought we'd go to lunch together, you know, be social on a Thursday morning. So let's take a look. This vlog, I just wanted to jump on here quickly and talk a little bit more about nutrition and kind of give like my takeaways on the topic. Obviously before I spoke quite a lot about various things that are good for you and things you can eat and the benefits for eating them, that kind of thing. But I also just wanted to touch a little bit more maybe on the things just to generally stay away from if you want to prioritize the health of your gut. My number one tip would be, and this is something that I've learned after being a celiac, because it's something I have to do all the time, is read the ingredients labels on whatever food you're buying. If it's packaged food, it's not, you know, raw, unprocessed food, if it has an ingredients list, read it. When you read the ingredients list, there's a few things to look out for that you don't want. So things like preservatives, additives, gums, stabilizers, E-numbers, all these things are not your friend. So if you're grabbing for that product, you turn it over, you read the ingredients, and you see that those things are listed, things that you don't generally understand what they mean or what they are, or even if it's just a number, just put it back and go for something more simple, more natural, and I promise you, your tummy, your body, your everything will thank you for it later. If you're like me and you have some sensitivities to food, and even if you don't, even if you just really want to optimize your gut health as much as possible, I would just say also stay away from the main stressors. So the main stressors on your body are, generally speaking, gluten, dairy, excess sugar, excess fat. So I'm thinking like deep fried foods or foods that are like sunflower oil, those types of things. You know, deep fried donuts. It's kind of obvious, right? Too much oil, too much sugar, alcohol, and this is a tricky one, but caffeine. I've had some problems with my stomach recently, and I have had to cut all of those things out, and you really, really do feel the benefit. I have to say, the really tricky one that I've found cutting out is caffeine. I don't think I've had a cup of coffee for about 3 months at the point that I am now, and I haven't had matcha or tea or anything like that probably for about 2 months now, which has been really difficult because I do love it. And I would not say that this is something that you have to cut out. It's really not. It's just, for me at the moment, I'm trying to optimize my gut health to get it like tip top, and then I can start introducing these things every now and again. And that brings me to my next point and final point is that I kind of live my life by an 80-20 rule, right? So the things that you do most of the time will impact your life, your body, your health, your well-being most of the time as well. So if you're following these kind of rules like 80% of the time, that is great. And that doesn't mean that you have to follow it 100% of the time. You have to miss out on fun occasions or indulgences and things like that. No, absolutely not. I definitely indulge from time to time. I'm an absolute foodie. I'm obsessed with food. I love food. I love baking. I love cooking. So I think that, you know, occasionally, every now and then, it's totally fine to indulge and break those rules, just as long as most of the time you're following that 80% kind of regimen, or I don't know what you would call it. I really do feel like you'll feel the benefit. I definitely did, and that's me talking from my personal experience. Obviously, disclaimer, I am not a doctor, I'm not a nutritionist. I am not the qualified person you need to talk to if you need more in-depth discussions about your health, or if you have complicated situations going on with your health. Please do go see a doctor or a nutritionist or whoever if your situation is a little bit more complicated. And I do genuinely recommend that, because sometimes you have underlying issues or problems that are going on and you don't really understand what's causing it. And also, don't just rely on your general practitioner, your GP, for answers. In the past, I've gone to TCM, Chinese traditional medicine, which has been really amazing for issues that I've had in the past. Go visit your homeopathic practitioner or your naturopath. There's all these different kinds of ways to treat yourself for your general well-being. So have an open mind and just see what works for you. And on that note, I am going to love you and leave you now. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. It was a little bit more educational, informative than I usually go for, but gut health and eating healthily and all those kinds of things in general is something I'm really interested in. I've done a lot of research throughout my journey of having celiac disease and little problems coming up here and there. So I feel like I have a lot of knowledge on the topic, so it's something that I'm really happy to share if it's something that you'd like to hear. So if it does interest you, please comment down below and tell me, and then I can make more videos kind of like this. And next week I'm going to include a little bit of my own cooking. I'd like to do a little bit of baking as well, show you that. So I hope you like it. you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.